Alright guys, welcome to the third installment of Whenever the Fuck I Want to Post One Cheese updates. So I'm going to call this one the Trade Deadline Week Special. For those of you that don't know, the trade deadline is November 10th for all Yahoo leagues. I have opted not to alter that. I feel like at this point it's a little late in the season. It's unfair. That's just what it is. You know, deal with it. Waivers will be up throughout the rest of the year. So for some of you guys, you need to kind of wake up, and you need a wake-up call, a realization as to the levity of the situation. Today is November 6th, Tuesday, November 6th. Your waiver picks will be through by 4 a.m. tomorrow, November 7th, and that leaves you about 2.5 days to kind of look through people's teams, see what they have to offer, because for a lot of you guys, you're still in it and you don't think you are, and for some of you, you think you're in and you're not yet. And I mean, that could honestly go for all of us. String together a couple losses. First, second, third place teams can end up in 7th. You got some strong teams on the outside coming up. I know I talked to my last one about Alex's team. He's a dangerous 6th place guy. He can bang any one of us out. No homo. But, and then you have Jamil, who just came off a 4-game win streak before getting the peak. But, really moved his way up there. He's got Demaryius Thomas, who I unfortunately dropped for D.D. Westbrook because I'm a fucking asshole. And now he has Deshaun Watson thrown to him. Don't be surprised if Demaryius Thomas turns back into a wide receiver 1 as he was with Peyton Manning. I'm not comparing Peyton Manning and Deshaun Watson, but for the offensive scheme they're in, and without Will Fuller, I mean, they don't really have much of a choice. Their tight end game is non-existent, and their run game is putrid. Their run game is the Oakland Raiders of run games. Just bad all the way around. I can hardly even come up with any of their fucking names. Lamar Miller. There's a guy you drafted in the 5th round and wish you could take that one back. Then you got Donta Foreman, hasn't played a game all year. He's strictly speculation. This is Deshaun Watson's team, and he's got legs too. He could take off. So in the scheme that they're running, Demaryius Thomas looks to be a guy that's going to have a 12, 13-point floor, but will occasionally go into the mid-high 20s. I think more often than not, for his first game in Houston going against his former Broncos, he put up 61 yards in the first quarter, which is more than he's had in any half in a game throughout the whole year. The upgrade of Case Keenum to Deshaun Watson is unspeakably high. That is a drop that I should have gotten something more for. He was underperforming, and I would have never guessed that he would get traded from Denver. So, again, not something that I would call a mistake, but something I definitely could have done more with. I'll have you know I'm drinking a comedically large glass of wine. This fits an entire bottle in it. This is my second glass. So things here get a little sticky. And you'll also note that I'm wearing, proudly, the colors of the World Series champions, the Boston Red Sox. Congratulations to them. So we'll have plenty of cheers to my teammates and plenty of, come on, man! And hopefully we'll have a good time with this one, because I'm having a good time already. Man. Good stuff. So anyway, talked about Alex's team a lot in the last video. So now let's take a look again, and like I said, the theme of this is that it's trade deadline week. And November 10th, again, November 10th. Don't forget the date, November 10th. You will not be able to make trades after that. If you are a team in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th place and you're looking to make the playoffs, you probably maybe need to make a move, need to part ways with one of your big guys for 2 or 3 more solid pieces. Give it to a team that's lower down, might really need the help and have the pipe dream and have the high hopes out of a big name to kind of put them into that upper area, because whatever they're doing is not cutting it. I will say my first drink to our first fallen team, Trey, you are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs with your 0.5 point loss to Jesse. First, I'll cheers to you. You're a fallen one. You're the first one to fall by the wayside. And then I gotta take a drink to a, come on, man! You dropped Dalvin Cook. You just dropped him like trash. He's not trash, man. He doesn't get dropped to waivers. That's fucking crazy. Dude, you had to get something, man. I'm not saying you get something much, but I mean, for a desperate guy, for a running back, I don't know, maybe you get a Demaryius Thomas, you know? Maybe you get a Duke Johnson, you know? Maybe you get something. You did nothing with them, and if you would have started them against Jesse, you could have won your game, but instead Jesse's sitting 1 win below first place, second place overall. You did nothing to help the league. You did nothing to help yourself. Trey, dropping Dalvin Cook to waivers. Come on, man! So Jesse squeaked that one out this week. Trey, I'm not even going to talk about your team. It's beyond repair. Your best bet is to go behind my back and pay someone cash to make a shady trade that's just believable enough that we let it go through. So we're talking trade deadline. Let's get to it. All right. So sorry, I'm using a fucking phone from like 2005, I think, to look separately. I have a laptop. I'm just really fucking lazy. All right. So here we go. So on the outside looking in. All right, so this is how we stand right now. Let's go there. So you have me, obviously, sitting at number 1, as it should be. Also first in points by 110 points and 1 game ahead of Jesse and Griffin. Griffin and Jesse are both at 6 and 3. Jesse and Griffin are separated by 3 points, Jesse being the favor of that one. I am up on both of them by over 110, so that's a good place for me to be. I could actually string together 2 losses hypothetically and still be in first. 1 definitely. A little nervous about my matchup tomorrow. He's got one of those boomer bust teams. You know, they could shake loose for 180 points, or you know, they could completely bomb out for 95. But let's look at the outsiders looking in. Obviously, minus Trey. Oof, what a year, man. Malcolm, let's go with one of the long shots here. Malcolm, who is in 11th place. He's at 3 and 6. But a really strong team. Matt Ryan, Josh Gordon, Julian Edelman, Tevin Coleman, fuck Matt Breida, but Greg Olsen, and you got Chris Thompson, Duke Johnson, Kyle Rudolph. You got a team that can compete here. Matt Ryan silently is the number 3 scoring player in all of fantasy football. So that is no small feat. You're behind like Drew Brees and Patrick Mahomes. So there's a guy that is going out there, doing his thing, going crazy, and Matt Ryan could be a big bargaining chip for you, although I think that it's important for you to keep him on your team. Josh Gordon looks like he's going to bust out. I've been waiting for it, man. I have him in another league. I'm so proud of this guy. I fucking love Josh Gordon. Edelman is your all-purpose GOAT, and the problem with Edelman is that people don't have enough respect for him. Edelman is worth a hefty chunk of change. In his last game, he actually recorded fantasy points for receiving, throwing, kickoff return, and rushing. I mean, that's fucking crazy. The guy is all over the place. And the fact of the matter is he has one of the most bankable floors. I mean, in fantasy football history, you're playing with Tom Brady. You're his number one guy. You're his go-to. You could throw a ball for a touchdown. You could catch a ball for a touchdown. You're a slot guy that is a target machine. You're looking at a 7-target minimum, which you probably come down with at least 80% of. You're a return guy. You rush. Julian Edelman, what a fucking asset to have. You got Tevin Coleman. Now, here's a guy that's been underperforming with Devonta Freeman out, which sucks. But you have his handcuff with Ito Smith. I mean, if I'm you, I'm flexing him. I'm starting both these guys. You're on a Atlanta team that wakes up when it gets cold everywhere else, and they always make that big push at the end, and I think that is two valuable assets for you that you should be starting. Now, Greg Olsen, here's where the trade deadline comes in. Greg Olsen cannot stay healthy to save his life. The guy's got bones made out of fucking glass. He's constantly being injured. When he finishes a game, it's a fucking modern miracle. The guy cannot be trusted. The fact of the matter is we're only in week 10. He's not making it 6 more weeks to get you through to a championship. So this is a chip that you need to bargain with. He's pretty notoriously Cam Newton's favorite target. He's usually ranked in the top 5 in tight ends. This year, I even would put him ahead of Gronk. Gronk is really disappointing. They're definitely trying to run the ball more, preserve Brady's career, for one thing. Second of all, it's working well for them. They started 1-2 in the first 3 games with 0 rushing touchdowns, and then haven't lost a game since, and have had 6 rushing touchdowns, most in the NFL, even more than the Rams. And I hear there's a guy over there that likes to rush for touchdowns a lot. Here's the deal, man. You take Greg Olsen, you could turn him into 2 other players. I think that your flex and your backup running back is weak. I love Gordon, Edelman, and Ryan. I love that stack, and then you got a great tight end, but your running back is really full of questions. You got Chris Thompson, who doesn't love Chris Thompson, but the guy can't stay healthy. Duke Johnson, the guy could go for 30, he could go for 3. Who the fuck knows? I like Duke Johnson's outlook looking forward with a new offensive coordinator and no more Carlos Hyde, which fucked me. Oh, man, I never got to how bad that fucked me. Carlos Hyde, every week starter to nothing. Not even a backup. He's fucking nothing. I went from starting him to nothing. And I haven't even fucking started my number 1 pick once this year. Still in first by 100 points and a full win. So, anyway, Malcolm, let's get back to you. You got to do something, man. Maybe you trade Greg Olsen and get a lower end but still respectable tight end, and then like a upper kind of guy in a running back. Find a team that has 2 great running backs and deal them Greg Olsen, because the odds you got 2 great running backs and a great tight end means you probably have a shit receiving core, and you could stand and have a guy that's catching balls in maybe at your flex spot. So find a team with 2 really strong running backs. Maybe make a move there. But I like where you're at with wide receivers. I like where you're at with your quarterback. Your defense is Miami and the Rams. Those are unfortunate decisions on your behalf. I'm not sure. Oh, hold on. I'll tell you where you're at on the waivers right now. But the Chargers are a hot pick this week. They're playing Oakland, who, I mean, honestly, we could form a flag football team that could beat them. So let's see here. Where on the waiver are you? You're number 4. you might be able to pick up a defense, man. There's a couple good position players up for grabs. Go out there, man. Get yourself a good defense. Drop one of your 2 bad defenses and pick up a good one. That'll build up your team without having to lose a player. And then I say make a move with Greg Olsen. There's not a hell of a lot out there in the way of quarterbacks to the point where you could drop a Matt Ryan for someone lesser and boost your position players, because that's really going to hurt you. Matt Ryan is the number 3 scoring fantasy football player this year, unexpectedly, and without Julio scoring touchdowns. I mean, the guy's just getting it done. He's fantasy gold this year. Let's just go through his numbers real quick. Because I feel like you're an emotional guy, Malcolm, and I love you, but don't get emotional and draft and trade Matt Ryan for a couple big names, because the guy after his bust in week 1 with 11 points puts up 38, 57, 41, 21, 38, 28, and 43. The guy's getting it done. Not Mahomes numbers, but right there, brother. Number 3 overall. That's something that you cannot afford to part ways with. And nobody would be really willing to pay the price of getting a Matt Ryan. You have him. You believed in him. You have a bunch of Falcons on your team. Roll with your Falcons. Fix your fucking Matt Breida situation. Do something in the way of a tight end. I might be able to help you with that one. But, you got hope. You're still in it. Just fight. I don't know a nicer guy than you out there. Just fight and try to make it through. I'm rooting for you, pal, to be honest with you. And then right after you, we have Josh Turner, who is on a nice little, hold on a second here. I want to give correct information. Is on a 3-game losing streak. Sorry. With a not bad team. With a not bad team, for sure. You got Cam Newton. Since the 2000s, I'd say top 10 quarterback. Fantasy production-wise, the guy is number 9th overall in scoring for the NFL this year in fantasy. Tyler Lockett, love this guy. Great hands, great route runner, great speed, and you get points on the back end for defensive special teams. Gronk, don't know what happened to him this year. And you got Barkley, so and Alshon Jeffrey. So you got a team that scores touchdowns for sure. What do I think you can do in the way of trades? You got Jordan Howard, Javarius Allen, and Saquon Barkley as your running backs. So there I see one running back that's respectable in fantasy, and especially when you are in 10th place, thinking that you have a chance to get to the playoffs where the top 6 make it. Not really cutting the bill there, you don't really have any huge names. You don't have a guy that's going to put up 30 points, really. If you can find someone dumb enough to bite on Rob Gronkowski, maybe a team that's in the top 3 or 4 that has a spot to burn, and maybe can deal you a running back. You need running backs. You need wide receivers, man. You need a lot. I guess starting Jeffrey and Lockett, Barkley, and then you have nothing in the way of running back backup. You have Carolina's defense not having a great year. You got a couple negative point games. You've yet to have a game after week 1 where you went over 10 points. The rest of the year, you're facing some stout offenses. You got Pittsburgh, you got Seattle, Tampa Bay with Fitzpatrick, New Orleans, and Atlanta. I don't like your defense one bit, bro. I think you're going to have negative points several of those weeks, actually. So, again, work the waiver wire. This week you have the LA Chargers that are facing Oakland, who is purposely tanking their season. It's easy money. Go out there and get it. Man, you're kind of boned here. I say I don't think I think Malcolm finishes with a better record than you. I'm sorry, I love you, bro, but this is a highly suspect team. Other than Cam Newton and Saquon Barkley, you don't really have anybody that's guaranteed to bust out. Lockett is great. Love him, top 50 guy, but he's got a couple stinkers out there, man. He's got a 9, he's got an 11, he's got 13. You know, you got to start him, which is the thing, but I think maybe he has a lot of value to, again, a team in the top 3 that could use a wide receiver. I know, I think I can maybe use a wide receiver. Tyler Lockett, maybe bargain him off. Maybe get like a wide receiver 3, but a running back 2. You know, get like maybe you could bunch up like Tyler Lockett, Jordan Howard, and get like a Philip Lindsay and I don't know, maybe a respectable wide receiver off Trey's team. I think Odell Beckham's the only one over there, but I don't want to talk, you know. I just refuse to look at that team. I feel like it scorches my retinas when I look at Trey's lineup. It's like The Conjuring. You look at it, or like The Ring, you look at it, and then something fucking crawls out of my phone and kills me. So yeah, Josh Turner, keep Cam Newton, obviously. You can't afford to part ways with him. Everybody else is dispensable. I say sell high on Rob Gronkowski. See if you find a dummy to bite. I won't be that dummy, but there are people out there that still believe that he is an integral part of that receiving core. He will still have his big games, but they're not going to be every week, and he does not have a 15 to 20 point floor the way he used to. I hate to say it because I'm a huge New England fan. I love Rob Gronkowski. He's done a lot for our team. He's helped us win a couple Super Bowls, but at the same time, he's not the guy he was. He's played with injuries his whole career. They're playing him safe. He's playing the position well. He's drawing big name defenders, and he's throwing blocks. He's doing the right things. But Rob Gronkowski is somebody that you need to deal. If you think he's bringing you to the playoffs, you were sadly mistaken, my friend. Jordan Howard, another fucking bum. You hear his name every year. He's the RB1 for the Bears, RB1. You throw these fucking things around. It doesn't mean shit when the guy's like a Doug Martin. He's like an Alfred Morris, a guy that has been drafted as early as the 3rd round in the hopes that this guy is going to be an elite runner like a Todd Gurley or a James Conner or Le'Veon Bell or Ezekiel Elliott, and that's just not the case. He's not fast, he's not strong, he doesn't make cuts, he's just not good, and I hate to say it. I love Matt Forte in Chicago. I drafted him every year, whether it was a good decision or not. When I drafted him, I always made it a point to have Matt Forte, and that's what Tariq Cohen is, and he's young, and he is the future of running in that team. You need to use these guys, Rob Gronkowski, Jordan Howard, and Tyler Lockett. If I'm you, I'd take all 3 of those, I bunch them up, and I try to get a big-ass name wide receiver and running back for those 3. Because then, they're looking at it like, hey, I got a top 5 tight end, I got a big name wide receiver, and I'm getting Jordan Howard or RB1. I mean, maybe you find a dummy. Take those 3 guys, bunch it up, and if you could get a big fucking wide receiver or running back at the same time, take it. Run with it. I will fucking approve it, because without that, you literally don't stand a chance in hell, young man. I am telling you that your team is in dire straits. You are 1 loss away from having no hope in this league. Turner, get out there. Make some trades. Get creative. All right? You're a smart guy. Go with it. We got my buddy Franklin over here. With maybe the most underperforming team ever. Holy shit. What a good lineup. Frank, good for you, buddy. You're in 9th place, which sucks for you. You beat me because of the biggest come on man of the year, Tyreek Hill, dropping a wide open touchdown in the end zone. A perfect fucking Dilfer dime dropped in his hands by the fucking king, Patrick Mahomes. And I lost because he dropped that ball. What the fuck? Whatever. You beat me. You're ninth. Let's look at your team. What went wrong? How can you get better? You got Big Ben Roethlisberger, the number 7 overall scorer in fantasy football this year. DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans, Kareem Hunt, Lamar Miller, Ed Dickson, a guy I love, Deshaun Jackson. You got Kerryon Johnson on your bench. You got Tyler Gabriel. You got Cameron Brate. You got Pittsburgh defense. You got 2 kickers. Hey, man, I ain't talking shit. I love depth, and you got the bench space to do it. Got Adrian Peterson. So now I guess you'd be starting Roethlisberger, Hopkins, Evan Hunt, Peterson. You need a tight end badly, sir. And then your flex, you're actually not bad at. You got Calvin Ridley, Deshaun Jackson, Kerryon Johnson, Tyler Gabriel, Cameron Brate. You got a great fucking team, dude. Alec at work today was saying, I can't believe I'm going to beat this guy. He's got a great fucking team. And you truly do. The big problem this week is that you have DeAndre Hopkins out. So you're going to have to be... you could start Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson. Fuck, man, not a bad bye week for you. And then you got plenty of room in flex area with Kerryon Johnson, Adrian Peterson, and Calvin Ridley. You got a great team, man. I think you're going to string together a couple wins. I think you make a big playoff push. And to be honest, if I'm you, I think that the only weakness that you have here in this league is at your tight end position. And it could end up working out for you. You know, I picked him up in the Bonzer Bowl. Ed Dickson's a guy that he's going to be the number 1 receiving option at the tight end position on the Seattle Seahawks. And Russell Wilson has historically and notoriously loved his tight ends. This year, it was Will Dissly, who I had in both leagues. I was really excited to have him. He seemed to have a great connection with Russ. Fell with an injury, out for the year. Devastating loss for the Seahawks because the tight end, receiving tight end, is such a valuable asset to have. A big guy that can plow for a couple yards after a catch. An easy target, a dink and dunk, can set up as a receiver, very versatile and thin at fantasy football position. So Ed Dickson's actually a great guy to have. I say you roll with it, bro. If I'm being honest with you, Frank, I love you, buddy. I say keep your team the way it is. I think it's built to win, and maybe you had a couple hard luck losses this year, but you've beaten some great teams. You beat the number 1 and 2 team. You beat me and you beat Jesse. That is no small accomplishment. Bye weeks or not, you beat the 1 and 2 team. You can compete. I say your best move you can make during trade week is to ignore every trade that comes your way. I love your team. I would rather not face it, if I'm being honest with you. So let's see if you can string together a couple wins. You're only separated from the pack by you're 3-6. The 6th place team is 5-4. You're 2 wins back there. You actually have more points than the 5th, 6th, 7th place team, and you're only 12 place behind the 8th place team. So your points are there, dude. You string together 2 wins, 3 wins, I think you're in the playoffs. So keep your team the way it is, man. Good luck to you, man.